Nice. Welcome back to the Melbourne Strength Culture Podcast. Number one in the charts and number one in your hearts. That's our little tagline. That's our tagline. We have Hattie Boydell here, which is incredible for us. Thank you very much for jumping on with this.
Thanks for having me,
We
guys.
we really do appreciate it, even though it's been a bit bit of a hot mess going on in here as we set things up. It's warm for us here, but you said you've acclimatized. But before we go anywhere, we've got a running question what we've been asking all the Queensland guests. Have you seen Uncut Gems?
No. What's that?
The movie with Adam Sandler, and he's a
Great film.
He's a jeweler.
No.
Ever seen it?
No.
No worries, that's fine. So you were just saying, just off air, that you miss some qualities about Sydney since you've moved up here. When did you move to Queensland?
So I came up in June last year, and I just came up for a holiday. Two of my best friends had just had a baby, and I'd started seeing this guy, and I was like, I'll kill a few birds with one stone. Came up for a week, and then I was like, you know what? I don't really have to be home. At that time, I really wanted to get out of Sydney. Sydney didn't really feel like home for me. So I extended my trip, and then in that week, they went into lockdown, and I was like, oh, well, I'm just not going. So I just lived out of my suitcase for like 8 months, ended up buying an apartment. My partner now lives with me.
Yep.
And, so I just never went home.
Yeah, and you were saying, obviously, we're 2/3 Greek of what rolled up in here, but you said you missed some of the culture, the multiculturalism of Sydney. Jamie's noticed it. There's just not.
I haven't noticed it. I've noticed it. Like it's, I walk down, I'm chasing smiles, just not getting smiles back.
No smiles.
Really?
I don't know what it is.
You're like, this guy doesn't belong here. I haven't seen people like this.
Yeah. I think that the
We
key
don't get
one
kids
was
like that around here.
The key one was we went to SK Steak and Oyster. I don't know if you've been.
In Brisbane?
Yeah.
I really want to go.
Oh,
Yeah.
Thomas Lilly took us there.
So we went there, but we
Didn't fit in.
We didn't. Oh, first we didn't.
Did you dress like this?
Yeah.
There's
Boys.
Birkenstocks, was socks, like Kappa shorts, baggy, everything, and we're walking through like, what the fuck are we doing here? But we got well fed, got a few stairs. The front of house looked like he wanted us to get the fuck out of there, but it was good.
Mm-hmm.
It was good. It was enjoyable.
It was enjoyable. It was a great time. It was a good time.
It's just, I think, the culture's very laid back here, and it is, my experience of it is very different from Sydney. I guess Sydney's pretty similar to Melbourne. It's got a big city, got a great nightlife. There's always there's museums, there's
A lot going on.
I feel like there's a lot more culture there. Like a lot of if you go inner city in Sydney, it's just a lot of street art, a lot of really quirky people. And I recognise that I missed that. Like I went to Brisbane last week, and I remember just thinking, oh my God, expansion.
Yeah.
All these different things. But, I think anywhere you live is like pros and cons.
Yeah, for sure.
The lifestyle here is so beautiful. The beach, the sun, the weather.
Well, that's one thing we've noticed. Like it's definitely a morning place. The early risers. There's a bit more going on in the morning. There's people walking around. The beach is just chock-a-block with dogs and coffees and.
There's no nightlife here.
Yeah,
I find that. Like I like to go out and have a good time here and there, and when it's due, and I just found I was like, oh my God, but there's nowhere to go.
Yeah.
So I definitely noticed that I struggle with that a little bit, but this is the hub of the fitness culture, particularly for the the industry that I'm in, where it's like fitness modeling. It's very saturated here. So yeah, I guess that's why I feel in a way it feels so small, because actually back home in Sydney, none of my best friends were in the fitness industry. In fact, they would be like, oh, you're going to go do that thing again where you
I don't quite
stop
understand
going out,
it.
or you start to track your food. It's like, oh yeah, you just do that over here, but you join us when you want. And so here is I realize I don't really have that many friends here. I was like, oh, where are my friends?
Do you see yourself staying here long term?
That will depend on my partner. I know that he doesn't really like Sydney, which is totally fine. But I feel like we really want to travel, but we've got a dog.
Yeah. Makes it hard.
The best ball and chain you'll ever have.
Yeah. We're dog people, don't worry. We're big dog people.
Oh my God, I love him so much. But I guess, I really miss this. I live right on the beach, but God, I miss a city.
Yeah.
I miss going to museums.
Yeah. There's
And
something
art
about
galleries.
inner city life. I love the hustle and bustle. I can definitely
Yes.
see, the draw to this lifestyle as well in here, and just walking down, I don't know what the street is, Albatross Avenue, where we are in Mermaid Beach. Mermaid Beach. It's beautiful. Like there's so many people up and about doing things, and this is something that I want to ask you. It's probably different for an elite level physique athlete. I struggle living in Melbourne and being close to inner city, in terms of staying on track. Like that's probably the best
getting
for me.
Sucked into the fun times.
Yeah, so
you got rubber arms.
Oh yeah,
big time.
the most
Huge.
Yeah,
my
Clark's rubber.
Clark
anyway,
rubber arms.
Sponsored. But yeah, so
Shout out to my sponsors.
That's it. Something I wanted to ask you. Yeah, like I said, it's probably different for an elite level physique athlete and just performance athlete as a whole. Do you find it easier to stay on track, to keep your habits on point in this setting compared to Sydney, back home in a city, hustle and bustle and so on?
No, I mean, like I mentioned, I don't really have that many friends here, so that makes it easy. But and my friends in Sydney, they're not health conscious the way I am.
Yeah,
they for years didn't. It's like they kind of knew what I did, but didn't really understand it. They'd just be like,
surely they knew you were like one of the best in the world.
They did. It was funny. So the year I won the world titles in 2016, 2 days later I went to Burning Man.
Oh, really?
And my friends had got to Burning Man before me, so I got to my camp and everyone's like, you're that girl. 'Cause I'm
really?
obviously stripped and ripped, walking around. Everyone's like, what the fuck? I thought I was in shape. And I'm like, hey guys. Yeah. And so I remember just being
overshadowed everyone.
Whoa, what the fuck? Honestly, what the fuck is this human? No one's ever seen
someone
like that in real life. And so a lot of my friends,
that would have been so funny.
Honestly, I remember
already. Another level.
riding across the desert, and I have this no pants policy. So obviously I've got bottoms on, but I never wear pants. And it was freezing one morning, and I was like,
you stayed strong.
That's my one rule. And I remember these people were like, aren't you cold? And I was like, yeah, riding across the bike. But I'm
world champion. That's mental strength,
mental strength.
This is discipline right here.
No pants policy.
I've been through worse.
Yeah.
So it was pretty it's pretty cool going overseas and people just being like, what the this is impressive. But also, especially when I go to Europe, people just really don't understand.
They don't understand it. I would imagine
not health conscious at all, and they're just like, she a he or she? It's really hard. It's they're really trying to work me out. Yeah. Even though I like to think I keep myself pretty feminine, I think for them it's still shit.
Well, yeah, as you said, there's just not many people. Yeah, no. But you never see them in the wild. You very rarely see. You see them on Instagram a lot, but you don't.
I feel like Americans really appreciate it because I feel like that's what they're hustling for, but they do it the wrong way because they, the thing is always do you, did you cut out this? Did you cut out this? Or are you only vegan? I'm like, absolutely not. What people think it has to be is not real. It's not true.
We interrupt this program for a word from our sponsors, which is Get Going. Get Going is a national mobile health and fitness company. They've helped over 10,000 individuals across Australia with their health and fitness goals. Get Going is a company that we have very close to us at Melbourne Strength Culture, and they're actually looking for more PTs and dietitians to join their ranks. You don't have to worry about any of the business related things. Sales, admin, marketing, social media are all taken care of for you. So all you have to worry about is doing the job that you love, which is helping individuals with their goals and aspirations in health and fitness. As I stated earlier, Get Going are looking for dietitians and PTs to join their rank. So if you're interested in joining the Get Going team and looking for a career path and some prosperity in your career, you can find out more through www.getgoingpt.com.au/careers, or you can call on 1-800-446-464. Let them know that Strength Culture sent you. Now back to the program.
I've actually... Can I go? Can I go? Thank you, man.
Oh, come on, guys.
We're just We're just loving this already. This is great. This is not how we thought this was going to start either. We were like thinking we were going to.
She's really proper. She's really professional.
We were going to try and set up a training thing, but I much prefer this sort of conversation. Something that really fucking annoys me is, as being a personal trainer or a coach or whatever, is when you go to like events and stuff, people just try to dump on you there. Oh yeah, I'm gonna eat. I don't normally eat like this. It's just because it's a. Do you cop all of that all the time from everyone? Like you come in contact with people like, oh, I used to train heaps. I just don't train. Like they're just trying to like protect themselves because you're obviously so good at it and so well.
Just DM me on Monday.
Yeah, for coaching. That's typically our response. We'll chat about it on Monday. But do you get all those comments, like even at the level you're at?
Oh, 100%. And, you know, I miss expos for that. I do miss expos for that and hearing everyone's stories. But also the funniest is like when I get into an Uber and they're like, oh, you train a lot? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, so what do you do to it? And I'm like, do you want... I'm like, fuck, how do I really tell it? Like... it's just every time it's just trying to explain like, no, you don't have to cut out carbohydrates and, you know, frequent eat it. You don't have to eat twice a day. And what I've come to learn, it is so hard to unclaw people's relationships and rules around food.
Yeah.
Because it is very much attached to their own beliefs. Yep. And I only work with women. So, you know, that's a really hot topic. And also, you know, it took me a long time to unclaw a lot of my really unhealthy habits. So I have this high level of understanding, but then also a lot of like compassion and, you know, just when you get these, you know, random people who, they really want the answer. They really want the answer. But even when you give it to them, because it's not what they've read in a magazine.
It's not what they want to hear.
It's like, oh, no, it's still too scary for them. It's still really scary.
Yeah.
So... yeah, it's always people love to throw back their past. Oh, I used to do this, used to do this. Yeah. Oh, yeah, awesome. So what are you doing now? Not that.
No,
okay, well, this is the problem.
Yeah, I say that nutrition in social settings is like religion and politics. Like they're just things you just leave because people have got their preconceived notions and their beliefs, and it's like, no matter what I tell you in this response, you're going to be like, fuck you, I'm just going to do what I do anyway. And it's just better left alone in that. But something that I did want to ask you in terms of, and this is, you know, obviously the way we see you train, and I think it's gangster. Like you smash squat, you smash bench, you smash deadlift. And in physique sports, some people will say that's not necessary. And then in reframing your development as a physique athlete, I know you started training a lot earlier. It seems that it's starting to make a shift, but it's you know, still halfway there. It's like reframing the development of your physique just to like do things to look better or to perform better. How do you feel that's shaped your development over the long term, and how that's helped, I guess, like you said, correct or improve on behaviors or poor behaviors from the past?
This is a really good question because, to be honest, like strength training really it really changed my life. Like I mentioned, I had some pretty bad, I had a bad relationship with myself.
Yep.
You know, in everything was punishment, and you know, I met, you guys probably know him, Australian strength coach.
Bass. Yep.
Yeah, Bass. You know, I have so much to thank him for, and I say this all the time, but God, I really don't think he understands the time I met him in my life, how much that changed for me. And yeah, strength training it was the thing that was like, it actually doesn't matter what you look like. It's all about how you perform. And that was the thing that I just grabbed and I ran with. Yeah. And it was all about, how do I outperform myself? How do I outperform myself? And at that time, I think it was 2014, there was no other fitness models that were squatting and deadlifting. And
it was like taboo.
I think the only girl was actually Andre Brazier, and she was my idol. She was to me just incredible, and she was like 50 kilos squatting 110, and I was just like, man, I want to do that. And so that built my body because there was high training morale, and I actually was able to incorporate volume into strength work. Like I've always been a workhorse, and actually that combined with learning flexible dieting, looking at, you know, I think there was a big shift in the way I was like, outperform yourself, fuel yourself with performance.
Yeah.
Because it was pretty tricky. You know, I had eating disorder, and then I got to fitness modeling. My parents were like, oh, you got to go back and do that restriction thing. And I did. I was going to that restriction thing, and I was like, there's got to be another way. And shout out to Lane Norton. He was such a big influence in my life at that time. And, he taught me that you can have the body you want and you can learn to eat all foods in moderation. And, combining that with Bass, and was like, fuel for your body because you love it, fuel for performance because you love it. And that built my physique. That built my physique for every single show that I've done. It's been the base of all my comp preps, both the foundation season, the building season, and coming into my shows. And, there's such a big debate around, strength training and squatting and your waist and all that kind of stuff. And, the truth is I do drop back deadlifting coming into my prep because, I've got thick erectors. I do. Everything has to be loaded. You're loading it axially, you're hinging, but it's not like, as you get leaner, your waist is getting small anyway, and it's a total bodybuilder. And more than that, I just feel fucking strong. I just love deadlifting. It is so empowering.
Yeah, I think there's something to that. You hear it with, and definitely comes from a lot of females who are scared to do heavyweight training initially, but then they swing across and find this performance, it almost becomes motivating because it's no longer like, it's definitely a common, for sure, finding performance.
There isn't that hyperfixation on like I'm doing everything to change the way I look.
Yeah.
And it's like, because it's such a long game as well.
Yeah.
It's like if you're hyperfixated on something that you're not going to be able to change in an instant second, it's much easier knowing that I did what I did today and I can beat that by 1 kilo or 1 rep or so on. And it's much easier to stay motivated in that short term, because that's where people struggle. It's like, it's a fucking long game and they're expecting the results in a split second and it just doesn't happen. And that's where I think it's a shortcut to dissatisfaction with strength training, with physique development, and then it's just a shortcut to saying, see you later, I'm not doing this anymore, or having a really bad relationship with it.
I think there's people are so fixated on feeling good, feeling a sensation, but that's really dangerous, because what about when it doesn't feel good? Like, actually the work is when it does not feel good. Squatting heavy and hitting your max and getting stronger, it fucking doesn't feel good sometimes.
It's hard.
You can't just go in the gym and be like, well, this feels good today and I feel this. It's like, you got to be able to kind of have a combination of different tools, because a combination of different tools is going to give you a really great outcome. And if I only trained to look a certain way, and I've taken squats, actually there was one prep I took squats and deadlifts out and I was bored shitless.
Oh, really?
Oh my God. I was like, you need to give me something that I can, I think I was like, I'm going to be able to do a single leg deadlift for 70 kilos for 10. Like I had to give myself something.
Yeah. Something objective.
Yeah. And then I just was like, I need to put it back in. I was like, at the end of the day, this is training morale. This is what I care about. This is what I love doing. And that was just a lesson for me.
I think it comes back to, if you enjoy it, you're probably just going to train harder anyway and all that sort of stuff.
Training effort.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
it's
it makes
change your body.
It's it is. It's psychology in a physical expression. Like, it's literally that.
Yeah, and it seems like a contest prep is probably going to be hard enough as it is. And if you're fucking hating training, it's going to make that a little bit harder,
I fucking hate the leg press. Oh my God. I fucking hate that thing. I don't know. I'm like, see it on my program. Like, at the moment, to be honest, like, I'm injured and I can't squat and deadlift. And I noticed, training has normally been like it's been my space for a long time. It's been a world for me where I feel accomplished. And lately I've noticed myself go to the gym and I'm like, oh.
Pieces missing.
And
will you ever compete?
I was actually going to do, very sad moment, I was actually going to do Worlds this year. But 2 weeks ago, I moved my AC joint out of position. So my rhomboid and my lower trapezius right now does not work. If I lay flat on my stomach and I take my hands out and I try and retract my shoulder blades, nothing, there's not even like a glimmer, like a switch. It just completely stops. And I'm like, and then I'm having some sacrum issues. So I'm just like, which is really frustrating because I really wanted to grow. Like I just wanted to, I want to do figure. So not fitness. I was always doing fitness. I want to do figure, and I want to be a sexy little petite, muscular little thing on that stage.
Like a staffy.
Oh, that's my spirit animal. Have you seen my dog?
Yes.
I've got to show you Lola. She's so cute.
We love staffies.
Oh
Don't
my
worry.
God. I call them little stiffies. I'm my little stiffy.
We call it Harry the Stiffy when we get back home.
We've got a gym dog, Charlie, who's one of the other coaches. He's got a puppy that's a Staffy, and everyone knows him. He's so placid. He's just the nicest dog ever.
But I think he's on heat at the moment.
We think he's on heat because he
is on heat.
He's gone a bit crazy recently.
He's got a little stiffy then.
He's got a little stiffy. That's it.
Yeah, so what are we talking about? Yeah, the world. So I was
You're
hoping
a Staffy.
to. Yeah,
That's incredible.
I'm a stiffy, the good kind. But so I'm gonna push it to do. My partner's actually doing the Amateur Olympia.
Oh, really?
Crazy.
Yeah.
What division?
He's a big boy.
I've seen pics of him. He's an
He's
Adonis.
a big, he's an Adonis. He's the sexiest thing I've ever seen.
Well, hang on.
Shout out to you, baby.
I want to actually call this out because, so obviously in the process of setting up this potty, obviously Mickey and Will, I'm very close with, and Will was like, oh yeah, Hattie's man. Somehow I saw a photo and I was like, oh, this must be Hattie's partner or something. And he's like, yeah, he's about as man as it gets. And this is coming from Will. Like Will's like jacked, big boy. Everyone looks at Will and it's like, this is action man in a human
like
form. Exactly.
Yeah. Paint him green.
But then he was like, nah, he's like a proper man. He's 6 foot. He's 6'4" or whatever he is. He's jacked. He's got big muscle bellies. He's obviously
got a beard as well.
Yeah.
He's dating Hattie like he's just a man. So it's so funny. It's so funny
I took
hearing
him from
this.
a boy to a man.
From a boy to a man.
Like it was actually.
I've got a rule for him.
Yeah.
He's not allowed to shave.
Oh really?
Nah.
I'm 33. He's 25.
Oh,
okay.
little trophy boy.
No. Cradle snatcher.
I'm going to call myself a cougar, not a cradle snatcher.
Fucking hell.
Come on, guys.
Oh, sorry about that.
Throw me a bone. But seriously, I said to him, I was like, first time I met him, I was like, oh, God, you look younger in real life than I do in photos. I was like, but I said to him, you're not allowed to have facial hair. And like within a few days, like he's like, is this better? Like he started to mow and like things came back and I was like, gotcha.
Done. Sorted.
So now he has a full grown beard.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Great.
What division is he competing in?
He's going to do classic physique.
Yep.
Yeah. So.
That division seems like it's taking over.
Oh yeah. So
Is that C-Bum?
Yes.
Yeah.
That is. Oof, he's another man though.
Yeah,
Put the
big
two
boy.
Adonises against each other.
Oh, that would be amazing. That's what I said to him. I was like, you have everything. You have what it takes to get on the Olympic stage and stand next to him. So
Yeah, nice.
I'm really. He hasn't competed since 2018. So no, not 2018. Is it? No. Ooh, don't want to rip this one. But maybe 2 years. I think. So
Before
2020.
COVID. Before COVID.
Pre-COVID. Yeah.
19.
So
maybe.
BC.
Before Christ, COVID. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing him on stage, and so I'm going to do a show close to that. So then we can just diet together and travel overseas together. Because then after we can, have a good time. And
Yeah, for sure.
have a few drinks and all that.
Back to Burning Man.
No, we're not going to do Burning Man. Burning Man's in September.
Another doof then.
But I've done it 5 times, so
Yeah.
I think I've
Do you have any other?
done my dash.
Do you have
Burnt out
any?
Burning Man.
Do you have any others that you'd love to attend?
Do you know what? There's actually meant to be a really good one here, Rainbow Serpent.
Oh yeah.
Yep, that's the doof of all doofs.
Yeah.
In Melbourne. Yeah,
So
it's
I'd
coming
love
back this
to
January.
support the Australian
Yeah, it's down in
party
Victoria.
here. Yeah.
Or is it New South? Or is it New
No,
South?
No,
it's,
I'm pretty sure
5 dayer.
Yeah.
It's Rainbow Serpent.
Yeah, no, but
Go
is
there
that
for
in
the arts and the
Victoria?
culture.
Is that for? That's in Victoria.
Yes,
though?
man.
Yeah. I didn't. Yeah.
That's
cool.
like so it's like
the one that
biggest
Charlie used to
doof.
go to.
Yeah, it's like the biggest
My
doof.
friend
Even
said
the
it's
internationals.
amazing.
Yeah, Charlie really enjoyed it.
Even the internationals come down and go, this is one of the best in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, honestly, I've had friends that have said it's better than Burning Man because, I mean, I can only share my experience of Burning Man, but it's changed a lot, like over the years.
a lot more commercialized.
It's a lot more commercialized. Like people don't help the way they used to. And I was like, my last year, while I met some amazing people, I was really lucky. First time I didn't go in a camp. We just set up a camp and I met some really, really amazing people. One of the ladies actually was Michael Jackson's choreographer. And
Really?
She choreographed the Super Bowl this year.
Really?
Fatima, man, she was so cool. And I just thought, only at Burning Man am I going to meet these people and,
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
Sure.
and be in their camp with them
Yeah, it looks like an experience.
but I just noticed like this is just a party. I could do this anywhere. So I'd like to go do something different. I love live music. I'd love to go back to some concerts. And what I really want to do is just travel the world with my partner and just have a good time. So we'll work really hard for the next couple of months, compete, and then,
and then have a break.
Have a break.
Yeah.
And then get back into competing again next year, and hopefully I get to go to the Worlds next year. And
for sure, smash it.
Definitely.
Something I want to ask you about on the back end of a festival. I would dub that stress management to me.
I get sick after Burning Man every year without fail. It's like a crash.
Yeah, maybe the week after the festival is where the stress is managed. Anyway, so just on that, where was I going? This stress management, yes, as a whole. So I think that success in the gym is dictated by what you do outside of the gym. And it's becoming more in vogue to practice mindfulness, journal, do what you're doing outside of the gym, not correct yourself, but work on yourself outside of the gym. How long, and I know that you're into that, and I dabble.
I know you're into that.
Yeah, I know you're into
That's
that, and you dabble. How long have you been doing it? How do you feel it's changed you as a person, and then potentially even affected performance in the gym and your career as an athlete?
I mean, I've had to work on myself since I was sick. I had to see psychologists and all that kind of stuff. And I guess there was a moment where I recognized my body is just a response of my mind. Anorexia, everyone focuses on the physical, but it's my mental. It was the language, the storage that, like the stories that my mind created, and then there was an action, and then my body had to obviously be a result of that. So just know it, like that was a moment where I was like, it's all about your mindset. Everything is about your mindset. I recently put something, your suffering is in our stories. What we put on, situations happen, and then we create meaning on it, and then we suffer in that, so, and that all is about our internal state. So it took me actually a long time to get into journaling. Journaling has actually been one of the best tools I've ever used for success. That was about 6 years ago when I got into that, and I just remember being so resistant to it because I thought it was going to be like, dear diary. And I was like, well, actually it doesn't have to be like that. You can, journaling is whatever you want it to be. It's literally a space for you that doesn't talk back. It literally holds everything you need it to. And so I use it as a space to declutter my brain and also create anchors for my process. Like I like to write things down, tick it off, write things down in prep every day, write down, tick it off, write it down, tick it off, repeat. When I feel distracted, which I do it, a lot of times in life, it's like, again, pulling myself back to what am I here to do? What is my purpose? Okay, what is that in a process? Because a process is actions I can measure, and actions I know I'm moving forward. So it's been a really big turning point. Mindfulness, I mean, I've actually been working with a neuropsych, and one of my best friends is, I can't remember the course he's done, but he's incredible at meditations, and I'm really lucky to work with these people because they just help me be so expansive, and they help me learn about myself. And something that I've come to learn over the years is that while we are this human being, we're made up of all these different parts, and we create parts of ourselves from different situations in our life. Someone says, "Oh, your child part." Yeah, that's when we behave from a child part. That's trauma showing up. And so what's been really helpful is that over the years, I've come to what I like to call radically accept myself. All the parts of me that are difficult, that I don't quite understand, that I want to change, that it's actually okay. Like I don't have to be perfect to love myself. I don't have to be, this high standard, which I can't live up to. Like it's just, these things that talk about perfection. This perfection is not reality. So all I can do is try and practice being that little bit better, and journaling, and even like touch. I do like a touch meditation. It's thanking my body for everything that it's done over the last 33 years, everything that it's doing in this present moment, everything that it's going to continue to do. Like I'm going to push this thing as fucking long as I can. Like, I get so excited about the body because I'm like, this amazing machine, we can train it to do anything. Like, fuck, it is so amazing, but we can use and abuse it. And it's like, how do we push it without it being, punishment? How do we, but we all have boundaries. Like, how do we push the boundaries and go, well, actually, that wasn't a boundary, that was a limitation because I overcame that. And now I can push it a little bit more. So I guess over the years, I recognize mindset is the most powerful thing, the most powerful tool that you use. journaling is a way of controlling the mind, or I guess using it. It's also a great way to kind of, I guess, dissect and work out what you want, why you want it, and what the process is.
Yeah.
And then just practices of gratitude and being thankful for this body. And, you know, I am really grateful, because that time in my life when I was, 16, 17, 18, 19, suffering from, body dysmorphia and all that kind of stuff, I don't know if I would be in this space now without that really, really tough time. I don't think I would have had the realization.
Well, it gives you a better vantage for what you're currently doing, I would imagine. It allows you to sort of view it for what it is, and it's not... Because and we could go a layer deeper here. Have you ever struggled with, after finding success in this endeavor of physique and body and all of this, like the physical manifestation of what you're talking about, have you ever struggled with like the identity of like, that's now who I've become, or anything like that? Because I would imagine that if you've come from this background of eating disorders and all of those sort of things, for you to overcome that and then find positive in what some people could deem to be, like your parents are saying that it's still a restrictive behavior and all that. Has that ever been a challenge for you after the success? Like since 2016 or through those moments?
Something I recognize, like the eating disorder was not me. That was like really good to be able to separate that. And it's not my story. It's just a part of my journey. 2016, when I won the world titles, I robbed myself of that experience, because as soon as I won, I was like, because I beat the 4-time, I beat Andrea Brazier. She was my idol. I'd put on my calendar, world champion, worked my ass off that whole time.
Manifested.
All about that.
And won. And then I was like, was I really the best?
Oh, really?
What if I'm not? What if that wasn't real? Like, was I really better than her? And when people would say, you're the world champion, my whole system would just go inwards and be like, oh, please don't say that. Like, I couldn't, it's such a sad, it's such a sad moment that I'm like, oh, I just completely took that year away from me. Because the next year last 3 years I've come second, or last 3 years of competing, I've come second.
Yeah.
Funny enough, don't have the title. Now I'm like, I'm a world champion.
And you feel better, yeah.
I had to, it exposed to me, there was still some weak links in my mindset, So that's why I'm like, when I win again, oh my God, I feel like I'm just going to cry and just be like, it's here. Like, you've worked so hard in those years.
Here's your actual moment.
Here's my moment. Yeah. And, that was just a lesson I had to learn. That's all I can take from that. And whether it's my identity, like when COVID hit and I couldn't compete, what that exposed to me was that I actually didn't need a competition to do what I was doing, to train like an animal, to eat the way I did, to track my progress, to love myself. I was just like, oh, I can actually just train without pressure now. I can be an absolute animal.
Well, Will Crozier, we love him, and he holds you in very high regard. He says you are the hardest worker.
Oh, what a legend. Thank you.
And Mickey said when she comes in, she's like, I've got to keep up with Hattie. I've got to do it. So
we had such a good training session. I've got to come back in. Yeah. So, well, thank you. I really appreciate that. I do pride myself on being a hard worker. I'm not shy of that at all. And I mean, I love training. So this is what's been a really challenging moment for me. It's like, I've got to work hard when things don't feel good, when training morale is not high. It's like, but you still got to get the job done. And I remember last week being like, I just want to give up. And then I was like, well, where's that going to get you? Nowhere. So this is what discipline is, Hattie. Like, this is where the rubber meets the road. And I know that, like, once things start feeling good, it's going to feel good.
Fucking oath.
And getting on stage is going to be so sweet, because it's been since 2019
after the breaks,
now. Yeah, it's just like, and I'm hungrier than ever. Like, I'm not training for second place. That's why it's like, I'm not getting on that stage till I'm fucking like the most beautiful thing that walks on that stage.
A couple of things. First thing, I'm going to go back to the language. We're big on manifestation on this podcast. When I win, that's what Hattie said. Not if I win, not any of that. When I win, that's fucking.
What is it? It happens twice. Once in your mind and then in reality. Yeah. That's another one of our favorite tags.
So people talk about manifestation. It's like, manifest that thing. Manifestation only happens when it's put into actions.
Yes.
Like, so you dream, or you think about this thing, you dream about this thing, you write it everywhere, you're exposed to it every day. That should create the actions. And it's the actions that create the outcome. Not, I'm going to think about this thing and woo, it's going to happen. like I've got a lot of woo-woo friends, love you, and I'm a little bit on that side, but I'm still like very, very here in reality.
Pragmatic, there's logic.
And so, I do love that. Like, But for manifestation to happen, it has to be in the action.
Yeah,
exactly.
My fiance, let me use the right words here because it's still new.
Get it, girl.
But yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Love.
Yeah, really nice. Me too. I love love too. And Laura, my fiance, showed me that I love love. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. And Jamie,
I love you too, man.
I love you too, man.
I love you, Nikita. Shouts out, Dales.
Laura, because Laura very, very much works in the spiritual world of and helping individuals and adjusting mindset and language and all of those internal dialogues and those some people internal suffering. But that's exactly like she's taught me that. Like I used to joke about manifestation, and it may come off in some of these podcasts when we're like at the start, number one in the hearts, number one in the charts. Like we do that, but also we traveled to Queensland to do these things, and we want this thing to move and go in that direction. So like it's cool that it's just cool coming from you. Some of that we do hold in a very high regard from obviously being incredibly successful across all of your fields and endeavors that you put into. But it's cool to just hear that. It's nice.
I appreciate that. I really do. Like honestly, I feel so grateful when people even shared what you shared, and I get these opportunities because you could do this with anyone.
Yeah.
But you chose to do it with me.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate it.
Well, as we said,
thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. You'll want to go back into the World Championships with that. Are you ever looking to compete in powerlifting?
When I'm strong enough?
Yeah.
I actually really want to, because I know that that's going to be a greater challenge than getting on stage. I've watched friends. I love going to Pro Raw. Pro
Raw's unreal.
God, I really miss the expos. But I love going to Pro Raw, and it's so much activation. You're like, whoa, this is so intense. Fuck, and watching Bass and Will and everyone compete, and Critter and a couple of friends and
Critter. Is he still training?
Shout out to him.
I haven't seen him in a little while.
No, I can't say.
All right, fair enough. Yep.
No comment.
No comment. But the anxiety I get watching like the guy squat, and like you've got the whole crowd in front of you, and you've got to hit this top number. I'm just like, it just gives me complete anxiety. Like I can train hard in the environments that feel safe, but I feel like if I go out and have to like squat in front of people that I don't know, perform, it just completely makes me weak at the knees. And so
really,
I want to do it
that at all.
Like, no,
it seems like everyone that I've ever spoken to that's done both. He's like, bodybuilding is the hardest thing, or any physique development over the long term is the hardest thing you'll ever do. Why do you think it would be so much harder to do powerlifting when you?
Because surely when you're on stage and there would be a full
even the
crowd
16-week contest prep going into it, fuck man, that seems like
I've been posing my whole life.
Yeah, but you've been squatting your whole life.
My mum said I used to walk past mirrors and I just look at myself and I was
really?
I still do that. I'm 33.
Yeah, but you've also been squatting your whole life and deadlifting and training, and people look at you and
strong as fuck.
I don't know, like it's such a skill to hit that 1 RM. It's such a skill to do that and be composed and not be thrown off by anything else. And that's why I want to do it, because I know how much it will demand from me in different ways that bodybuilding will. So, but let me show you. Every time I'm about to walk out on stage, I'm like, why the fuck am I doing this?
Oh, really?
Come on, show me how good you are. Like it goes in this like, honestly, I just like fucking freak out every time.
That's incredible.
It's, like I've been competing my whole life. I was a gymnast. I was an elite gymnast.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah, for my whole life. And I think it's the standard that I have, and it's like, you better hit that. It's like internal, like very high standards. So I always walk off and I'm like, did I do what I came to do? And I do remember like 2019, I really thought I had it. I guess I remember walking out and just being like, I remember I had Muhammad Ali in my head. I'm going to show you how great I am. And I remember like, I was just like, I'm going to show you how great I am. And I walked out there and I fucking, went out and did my thing. And it was, I had such a great time. It was awesome. And, the thing about bodybuilding, and in particular WBFF, is like it is so subjective, and all I can do is do the best that I can.
Yeah.
Like I often mute my competitors when I'm getting ready for a show because the time I spend looking at them, the time I take away from myself, and this is something that I tell my girls, I'm like, it doesn't fucking matter about anyone else. If you're going to use it to debilitate yourself, get away. Like,
it's the wrong.
Doesn't make you work harder.
No.
Does not make you work harder.
If anything, it takes it away.
Takes it away. It's like
you start
all
doubting.
you can do is work as hard as you can do. Stop worrying about anyone else. Stop it. Like on show day, when everyone's on stage, everyone's on a clean slate.
Yeah.
There's no winner. It's everyone's on a clean slate, and you fucking go out there and you do the best you can. So, and the result of that day is all the work you put up in the lead up to it. So it's like, this is why you can't pussy out. It's like, you have a hard day, that's part of it.
Yeah.
Like,
it's all part of it.
It's all part of it. This is what builds character.
Yeah.
This is why people become addicted to powerlifting or bodybuilding, is because how much character it builds. But I guess, something that you talked about identity before, and I think something I'm really grateful for is that I haven't just got one identity, but what I have realized is actually I have more of an identity around my squatting and deadlifting and being strong than I do competing. And this is where I've been a little bit challenged within myself lately, where I go, "Oh, I'm not doing those things at the moment. Like I'm not strong. I used to do this," and it's like, well, is this a helpful way of being? It's like, well, just because I'm not that now doesn't mean I can't be. Now I've got to focus on fixing all my weak links so that I can go back to do those numbers and I can do it better. Yeah, that's the game. That's that's all I can focus on. Not what has been, what I can do now.
The power of now.
The power of now.
What's his name? Eckhart Tolle.
Eckhart Tolle.
Laura reckons he's an alien. My fiance reckons.
He speaks. Have you ever watched him speak?
I've never heard him speak. No.
So it's like the greatest mindfulness book of all time. But if watch him speak,
should I listen to it as an audio book?
I think you should watch it on YouTube.
Watch it on YouTube.
Everyone's like, "Have you read this book?" Yeah, I had it on audio. I'm like, well, then you didn't read the fucking book.
Oh, that's a direct insult to me. 'Cause I'm that guy. That's Will Smith. OG GOAT hip hop star. OG hip hop star. No, we won't get into that. You've brought him up a few times, and it's somebody who we also, in the similar way to you, we just think Seb Oreb is a weapon.
Oh, he's the best.
We love everything about him. We love his attitude, his humour. Obviously, like, he's at the peak of Australian strength training as the Australian strength coach, as an athlete, as a coach, everything about him. We just think he's eaten a bit.
He's the bee's knees.
Yeah, how did you come into his life? You've obviously he's obviously made a big impact in your training, but also it seems like how well you've been able to progress and all of those sort of things. Like, how'd you meet him? When did he come in?
Okay. I actually met him. He sat behind me at my first ever FMA course with Mark Buckley.
Yeah.
And I remember that course. That course was unbelievable. I think that was in 2012 or 2013. And he sat behind me. And then
As a student,
we both did the same course. And then I think it was like a year later, there was this charity event at one of the supplement stores in Bondi, and there was a deadlift and a bench press competition. Yeah. And people were like, you should get in there. And I was like, all right. So I remember getting under the bar, and I went to an arch, and he was like, I can't go away from the microphone. Yeah. He was like, where did you learn to bench like that? And I was like, FMA. He's like, it's you. I sat behind you. And so I get into this arch bench press. I'm like, yeah. And then he, at the time, his wife and his wife's sister, like, they had Base Body Babes, and they were huge.
They were massive. They were big, yeah.
And
they still are.
And still are. Like, they're amazing women. And I remember reaching out to him after, and I said, I'd love to come in and train. And he thought I was coming in to see the girls. I said, no, I want to come in and train with you. Yeah. And so I came in.
Did they have Base at this point? No, they were still at the
Unity. Yeah. They were at Unity, and I remember going in and we did some squats and deadlifts, and I remember him like sitting me down and being like, "Hey, 4-minute rest," and I was like, "Huh?" And I remember being like, "I'm never coming back here."
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just like smiled. Yeah, okay, I'll see you in a few days. And I was like,
see ya.
Okay. What's really interesting is at that time in my life, I still had some body image issues. So I was like, oh, my legs are too big, or this and this, and so I was like, I only want to squat once a week. Yeah. Neck minute, 3 times a week. Next thing, 6 times a week. I'm squatting, deadlifting.
Load the bar, load the bar.
I just became addicted to this thing, and at the end, I was squatting and deadlifting that much, and my legs didn't blow out. No, they just got fucking strong and beautifully shaped, and I just felt, like I said, so empowered, and it just completely changed my overall being. Yeah. Like, how I saw myself was just so different, and it was like I kind of like took off the choker that I'd had on myself for so long. I was like, be free, like, go and do the thing. Like, what's the limitation that you have on yourself? Let's fucking break it. Like, let's push this boundary. And we trained so hard. He used to put me through these circuits that he'd put a lot of his boxers through. And I remember him looking down on me once going, I'm so sorry. Like, I was like, oh my God, I'm fucking dying. He was like, I'm so sorry. you've got 2 more rounds. I was like, okay. So it was like I was able to, over time, I was able to kind of influence him in ways that I was like, I need volume. Like I've got this base, cool, but I'm a fitness competitor. I need to grow.
I'm a staffy. I need more work.
I'm a stiffy, and I need more work. I can handle it, and so he and I just I spent, if I think about it, I said this to him the other day because I caught up with him in Brisbane. I said, I've spent more time with you than I have, most of my girlfriends, because I would come in and train 2-3 hours a day, 3-4 times a week. At one point, there was 6 days a week I was training, and there was one point when he had base gym in North Sydney, every Saturday I had to try and hit. I would have to try and hit numbers that were half of what he was hitting, and in the beginning I could, and then he's just like fucking
he's a machine.
And I was like, how am I going to do this? 10 by 2s, I remember that. So yeah, it's been such a beautiful journey, and I went to his course on the weekend with Andrew Locke and Bass, and I just sat there and I just looked at him. I thought, you are just such an amazing presenter, and I'm so influenced and inspired by you, because he can make the most boring things funny. He's such a great storyteller, and I think that's such a big part of being a great presenter. And he can break everything down by layer, simple pieces, because
it's simple. I think that's the
simplicity, and then into a really funny story, and it's like, you're the best.
I think the thing that I really, because especially in, I don't know, I've actually brought this topic up. The industry in the last few years has just got really evidence-based science. Everything has to be more detailed and more
up on a pedestal.
But then the one guy who is far and above everyone else on an application standpoint, it is just simple. He breaks it down into these easy terms, and every single person at every layer can get better at. We get a lot of inspiration, and probably more so since we've sort of shifted our direction a little bit. But in the last 12 months, my appreciation for what he's been able to do is just
Even so, my mum follows him.
Oh, really?
And so she sees.
Well, that's saying
memes,
something.
And she's like, she'll sit there chuckling. She's like, "Have you seen Bass's stories today?" And I'm like, "Oh my god, I go on there." I'm like, my mum's laughing at this shit.
His memes.
Yeah, oh my god, the funniest memes. I'm like, "Can you send me that one?"
Nothing beats the penis reduction when he was overseas. I just always come back to it.
He's got so many good ones. Like he's just
he's number one.
Honestly, he's made such a big impact on my life, and I'm so grateful. And actually, like him and Tony Battaji, he's not in like the strength world. He's in actually strength and conditioning. Does a lot of work with a lot of Commonwealth Games.
I don't know that name.
But those two have been really big influences and mentors in my life, and I'm really grateful, because I've not only have I learnt so much from them as coaches, but just as people in general, like just really nice people. So grateful.
Yeah, that's cool. We've been chatting a little bit with Seb, because we're going to do the same thing in Sydney. Oh my God,
you're going to have the best time.
Yeah, and Luke Lehman actually.
Oh my God, I love that guy too.
You've got to listen to the podcast.
It's the most fucked thing we've ever done, and I love it.
So entertaining.
No, I've consumed a lot of Luke Lehman a few years back. I probably haven't been consuming as much recently, but I've never. Not in a podcast form. Yeah. Some of the stories he was telling us, we were just pissing ourselves laughing. It was so much fun.
I was shitting myself for the first 20 minutes. I'm like, I put this guy on such a pedestal in like just the physiology, exercise, science world. And then after he was crying.
Yeah.
He was trying not to make noise.
Donnie
had no idea what he was coming into this text and talking absolute
I would love to
smack.
work with him. And his wife, Zoe.
Yeah.
She's so legends. Smart. Oh, I really like both.
Yeah,
of them.
so this all fits in 2 suitcases, and we rocked up to his house because we did it at his house.
The dogs. Have you met the dogs?
Yeah, we met the dogs. Yes. We met the dogs. And we rock up with 2 suitcases, and we're like so self-conscious. Like these guys are just thinking we're fucking idiots. We're just. But as soon as we sat down and started chatting, it was straight away just like, this is fucking bang on. Yeah. Great people. But yeah,
we're walking out thinking, what the fuck just happened? In the best way possible.
Yeah.
Like, this was unbelievable.
And we're probably going to have the same experience after this as well.
100%.
I'll be honest, we came in here a bit nervous, and we're like, we actually tried to set up the start of the conversation, and then straight away it just went down a route that we didn't think, and it was like, crazy. This is so much more our feel. Like way better.
We've seen the part before, like, I'm gonna fuck this up.
And then you were you were early, and I sort of knew that it was hard to get you to come in. I was like, oh, we're not gonna fuck this up. We're gonna fuck this up. And I was worried about the Google Calendar. I was like, oh shit. But it's all turned out to be absolutely perfect in the end. So
I was like, oh guys, I'm like, fuck, I'm late. I moved it already. They're going to think I'm the worst bloody interviewee. Like, I was just like, oh my God. So, and I was like, I don't know anything about these guys. I wonder how it's going to go. But I like to think I'm pretty easy to talk to.
No, 100%.
And,
yeah.
You know, I talk to trees, so I'm pretty
crazy.
I'm a tree hugger.
But yeah, I think we'll wrap it up there. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Great.
Do you have anything that you would like to, if people are interested in working with you or in your ranks, obviously the Sports Model Project and stuff like that, but you can, from your own words.
I've got the Sports Model Project. Our mission is to create a world of resourceful women powerfully supporting one another.
Yep.
I'm about the whole human experience. So transformation is inside and out, and we're here to make an impact. And you can find me on the Sports Model Project or even just Hattie Boydell on Instagram.
On the IG. Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We thoroughly enjoyed it.
That was fucking great.
Thank you.
Thank you.